Colleen McCarthy. Join the meeting.
Good.
Hello, Colleen.
Hey, Colleen. Yeah, you're joining by phone, right? From what you said.
Yes, John, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so you probably, unless you get the newspaper, haven't seen apparently, there was an article in the paper that
The call for the resignation?
Yeah. You saw that?
I only saw the title. I didn't get to read it in depth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had heard there was a kind of a conflict of interest there from the last meeting I had Friday, I think it was, with the Coalition for Public Education. But apparently it has caught the attention of many people. Yeah, have you had a lot of folks in your area that are active in education events or?
No.
Okay.
There are some, but I wouldn't say that there are a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay. See, we've got Lee Loomis, who is just joining us, or at least his iPad is.
Third video.
Hey, Lee, how you doing?
Oh, just fine. How are you?
Not bad.
Hi, Lee.
Hello there, Eleanor. How are you?
Pretty good.
Seems to be a slow start today, Lee. We're supposed to have about half a dozen folks here, but I guess we're getting there.
Yeah.
Is it still snowing?
It's snowing, at least in Henrietta, and it's in the mid-20s. So, and there's not a salt truck anywhere to be seen. So,
Wow.
We've got on the phone, Lee. We have Colleen McCarthy from the what neighborhood is it that you are from?
I'm in MNBN, Many Neighbors Building Neighborhoods,
Yeah.
and I'm president of a neighborhood association in the Monroe Avenue area. It's Block LOCK 66, Middle Monroe Avenue Neighborhood Association. And was that Eleanor who commented?
Yes.
Thank you, Eleanor.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Eleanor.
Did you see the article, Lee, on the call for Jallo to resign, or complaining about her conflict of interest between some of the groups that she's involved with?
yeah, I really didn't know much about her or her background. And she replaced a guy that everybody thought was pretty good, too, didn't she?
Well,
Wasn't there some sort of a predecessor to her?
well, there was the who was
A guy.
There was somebody there before. There was the educator there that was commenting on what he saw in the school district. That wasn't quite the same position. Who was there before her? Eleanor, do you remember?
No.
Yeah.
No.
But it's there's some people who feel that she may be too
Biased.
pro charter schools, and then that may be the reason for some of the turmoil that's going on in the district right now. But Rochester Coalition for Public Education meeting Friday, and there was a lot of discussion about some of the proposals that the superintendent has in terms of, that they're really doing a lot of harm to the district. But, the uproar we have over the closing of schools and combining of schools, some of that is, understandable. Certainly the things that the superintendent has proposed for trying to get all the elementaries to be pre-K through 5 and the middle schools to be 6 through 8 and high schools 9 through 12. That makes sense or high schools would be, middle schools she's got 5 through 7, is it? And then anyways, trying to get all the schools to be uniform number of grades so that you can more easily have students go from one school to the other without having missing classes.
Have we completely, has Rochester completely recovered from the K-8 thing?
Oh God!
That guy wanted to do 6 or 8 years ago?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we did get 7 and 8 out of school 16, by the closing. But boy, the kids were over in. They went over to Freddie Thomas for 5 years or something like that, and they had 7 and 8 while they were there because there was plenty of room. And then when they came back here, it was just pre-K through 6. But there have been so many changes that are done because of state requirements. When we got started on this for 16 and school 10 shortly thereafter, we were, trying to keep the schools open in the 19th Ward, and it was, as we look back on everything that had been done since we started, it's a constant attempt by the state to force or push for getting fewer school buildings in the Rochester City School District. And, there's constantly a push to close schools. All the schools that have gone into receivership, then they, if they don't get out of receivership in so many years, then they have to change. They go into state receivership, and if that fails, they either have to close or shut down as the school that they are. So like they forced 41 to close. Then it reopened as, God, I'm even forgetting the names. Now they're trying to push it out of where it is now to move it down to what is school 7, and they keep changing the names of some of the schools. It's almost like they're trying to erase the history that the city has with their schools. You don't, like School 10, which we've been fighting for, but that was School 37, and 90% of the people, the adults here, remember it as School 37, and that it had been closed, and it was unused for several years until they opened the Walter Cooper Academy there. But
Yeah,
all this,
that's when we came along, was
yeah.
after that happened. So
You kind of wonder when you look at what is going on in the city. There's the net effect of all these rearrangement of schools really is very confusing to everybody concerned. There's, if it hadn't been for the fact that quite a few people in the 19th Ward had volunteered at various times over at School 16, it would probably be closed right now, because I'm sure if we hadn't pushed to have it reopened, it would be one of the closed schools right now. Let's see. The issue with that they're calling for the Rochester City School monitor Shelley Jallow to resign is that she recently disclosed has a job as regional superintendent of a downstate charter school organization.
That is crazy.
Yeah, she apparently was doing this as a private contractor.
So make some money off of public schools by setting up a charter school and then come back to the public schools and do a contract.
I don't know. When you think of all the things that get done in the district because of what the state is pushing for, the net effect is that when they, for instance, whenever they have a receivership school, they have to announce to everybody who is attending that school that it's a receivership school. If somebody applies to go to that school during the time that you have open applications, they announce that it's a receivership school. It basically makes it harder for people to really feel comfortable about having their kids go there. So if they're 3 blocks over, they say, do I want to have my child walk to that school, or can I put them on a bus that'll take them across town to some other school that I think is maybe better? And when you end up seeing kids going across town everywhere, then it's harder for the parents to be involved with the school. The fact that it's harder for them to be involved means that the school is likely not to do as well just because it doesn't have as much parental involvement in their school. And if you were trying to destroy a school district, you'd definitely do what we're doing right now with the busing situation. Almost force people to send their child someplace where they have trouble going to because of the lack of transportation that many of them have. If you get a chance, I did post the latest meeting notes from the coalition meeting last Friday, and Dan Dermesich is doing a good job of sending out a lot of information. They're posted on location 19, and have you used location 19 much, Lee? You're muted right now.
Have I done what with 19?
Location 19, the where we post a lot of our notes.
No, I'm kind of delinquent in that. Is that a Facebook thing
No,
or what?
it's a website that I manage. It had been started by a college student in the 19th Ward back around 2008, I think, and we've been using it since since 2012 to post all the education committee and schools committee notes that we put out, and I started also documenting the Coalition for Public Education meeting notes, because they do a lot of good things, and we've been following, attending their meetings. I wish they were reciprocating and attending this one, but
How do I find it? I just Googled it and it doesn't like me spelling out location19.com. Is it .org?
.org, yes.
Let me try that. Oh, great. It's taking me right there. That's good.
Good.
And
And
is there a way that I can set this up, my relationship with it up, so that whenever there's something new, I get
yes, in
get a
fact,
jingle?
you're at the main page right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm at Gail Mott liked John Boutte's discussion.
Okay.
John Boutte added 2 discussions, that
Okay.
sort of thing.
Yeah, if you go to the upper,
Upper right, 3 bars. Activity blogs, photos, discussion, group events, desktop. Okay. I don't know what.
there's one that let me see if I can pull up. Yeah, at the very top of the page, there's a bunch of tabs where you can do some navigating, but also see if we go down. There's the daily email digest.
Okay, I think I need to get off of my phone and get on my PC.
Okay.
The PC usually offers me a lot more choices.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're on the phone doing that,
All right, let me change rooms here.
Okay. You were expecting to get your computer back sometime soon?
Actually, I picked it up yesterday from Microworks. It's not worth fixing. It was when somebody tells you it's going to take them at least 30 minutes to explain this, that, and the other, you're in for it.
Yeah.
So I have to get a new one.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's not worth investing anything in, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know how that goes. We've gone through several computers. I've got one that I had gotten, with a lot of speed and memory, and so it's been hanging in there for me for 5-6 years now, but they go out of...
John, you were discussing about location19.org,
Yeah.
and if I understood it right, the gentleman who brought that up and who was logging in, you don't need a password or any kind of access code
No.
to get in there. You just get right in. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't have to be a member. We'd love to have you become a member because it makes things a little easier for me because I can.
I understand.
Have you connected? If we're friends on there, it makes it easy to go back and forth. But if you just type in location19.org, it will get you to the main page.
And that's on Facebook?
No, this is not Facebook. This is just
Oh.
on the
Oh, website.
internet. When we started this was, I took it over 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, and Facebook was still coming on strong, but it wasn't everywhere like it is now. So, and by the time it became obvious that most people were switching over to Facebook, we had so much information documented on Location 19, as Eleanor well knows, because a lot of it was stuff that she helped put in there.
Right.
Well,
Thank you, Eleanor.
You're welcome.
I'm looking at I'm looking at members, and it says you have 755 of them. How do I become a member?
Okay,
so that I get the posts.
So we have 756.
On the right side, you should see some thing that says you can sign up.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Sign up.
So you can.
All right. Duh. All right.
You can, you can do that. But right now, over on the other side, also somewhere about the same level on that page, there's a daily email digest. Do you see that?
Yeah. Hang on a second. Let me just enter. Okay. Says I already have an account.
Ah, okay.
That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Ah, see that? We've got a lot of people who forget that they have an account. Over on the other side of the page from that one for signing in, there's one that says Daily Email Digest.
Hang on. That's under the member thing, or is that under?
Yeah, it's on the main page. You see,
right?
And it's on the left side there. There's the second box down. Says enter email, daily email digest.
Okay, hang on a second. I'm looking. I'm not seeing that.
You're up. You've got the picture, the header there that goes all the way across the page.
All right, I'm back to the main page.
Okay, main page. You go down. There's a box that says donate, and then there's one.
Oh, okay.
That says
and
daily
then the next
email
one,
digest.
email address. Okay.
Yeah. So
and then
just put
subscribe.
Type in your email address there.
Yeah. I did, and then I hit subscribe.
Yeah.
And it says, sorry, not a valid CAPTCHA answer. Please try again. All right, let me say I'm not a robot and see what it does.
Yeah, that's all you need to do.
Okay, look, it says your request has been accepted.
Okay. And that'll mean every day you'll get an update of anything new that was done on the site once you've done that.
Super.
So that'll get you posts.
Does that come in ahead of Harbor Freight or after?
Harbor.
I get stuff from Harbor Freight 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well,
now whatever has happened through about 5, it's around 5 in the morning that they send out notices. So any activity that day up until that time, and if there are new posts, and most of the activity is either on the schools or the Southwest Common Council also posts its notes on there. On the
Yeah.
on the other side of the page, from where you've put your name in under the Daily Email Digest, if you scroll down in the box that says Groups,
Yes.
just scroll down there until you see Southwest SW Education Forum.
Hang on a second. Safety net. Okay, there we go.
Just click on that,
All right.
and it will take you to the Southwest Education Forum, which is the group. This is one of 69 groups that are on here.
Okay.
This is the group that we've been using for all the education stuff, and you see a bunch of member pictures there, and
Yeah.
and if you scroll down just under that, there's pages 7, it says, and the first entry there is all the names of school board members and phone numbers. Then there's the Southwest Common Council Education Committee.
Hang on a second. I'm looking. This is over on the left side now?
It's in the kind of the middle column.
Oh, sorry. Hang on here. Pages. Contact info, school board, superintendent. Okay. Southwest Education Committee minutes index.
Yeah, the Southwest Education Committee meeting index has all the minutes that Eleanor takes here that we post for that. Then there's an entry for 19th Ward Schools Committee Index.
Yeah.
And at the bottom of that list, there's the Rochester Coalition for Public Education Index. And if you...
Is that Dan Dermesich?
Yes, that's Dan Dermesich.
I'm sorry to distract everybody. Thanks very much for the tutoring.
Well, yeah, it's there is, if you look at the first the Southwest Common Council Education Committee, and you click on that entry there, it will take you to a page that lists all the meeting minutes, and they go back to the very first meeting we had. The July 17th is working yet. I've got to figure out how to fix that because it's there's one, the meeting notes July 17th that is at the bottom of that one's not working, but
this goes all the way back to the Sibley fire. Yeah.
So anyways, when you decide to pick up a computer, Colleen, let me know so we can get you caught up on the what we've got listed here. But I was looking through one of the early postings the other day, and it apparently we learned about School 16 getting closed year first part of July, maybe the first week, and by July 17th or 18th, we had, I'd gotten a hold of Mary Adams had been contacting me because some of them were also, she was a member of the Location 19, and we had meetings with Eleanor, who knew everybody. She put me in touch with Ralph Spezio, I believe, and Ralph Spezio, of course, had been the principal at got 17 working very well. He had it as a model school in the 90s. And then when he left there, it kind of went down. So anyways, we within about 3 weeks of having had to start a group with the Southwest Common Council on Education Committee group, and we ended up finding out enough information to contact, thanks to our contact with Ralph Spezio, that we got Mary Adams to put in a motion at the next school board meeting to guarantee that the School 16 would come back to Post Avenue and after it was repaired or remodeled, because it wasn't sure yet whether it was just going to be. There were some complaints about the heating system and number of things, but within 3 weeks we had managed to gather enough information to identify that we wanted that school to reopen and we wanted it to be a community school, and we listed a lot of the things that community school, some of the characteristics we wanted, and so we were pretty much at the point of what they're finally asking communities, charter schools that are in receivership. One of the ways they can get out is by opting to become a community school. But within a few weeks we knew that that's where we wanted to go. We were going to try to copy the things that Ralph Spezio had done over at 17, and that was in the process of trying to be revitalized at the time. So by just a few weeks we knew what we wanted to do, and instead of the school district, which saw the rise and fall of 17 when during the 10 years or so that Ralph was in charge of it, it went from one of the worst schools in the district in one of the poorest parts of the district of Rochester to being a model school that the state recognized as being top notch, and we've got one in the waiting room, but what? Well, I've got a feeling that a lot of the problems we have, maybe Zoom is not working properly for us today. So I don't think Lee was planning on leaving right at this time.
Didn't seem like it.
Ah, there he is. Welcome back, Lee. Connecting to audio. So we got Lee as we have Lee's iPad, and we've got Lee Loomis guest. You count for two, Lee.
Yeah, Lee Loomis's battery died.
Ah, was that?
Lee Loomis had to run back to the other room and plug it in again. Sorry about that.
No problem. We're having our problems today. But the thing I was getting to with Colleen is, the the group of people who kind of pulled together to fight to keep to get School 16 reopened, identified what they wanted to do within about 3 weeks of when we got notice that the school was closing, and we wanted to get it reopened as a community school and have wraparound services, all the things that 16 had done under Ralph Spezio, and that was before the Southwest Common Council Education Committee had its first meeting, because the people who jumped into the Education Committee were also talking behind the scenes with one another. So it didn't take us that long to figure out we wanted a community school. We wanted to favor, having local kids joining the school. And we had gotten a hold of Ralph Spezio, Mary Thomas, who was the principal of School 16 back when it was doing well, about 5-6 years before 2012, and we've been pushing for that ever since, and we finally have School 16 reopened, and it's supposed to become a community school, and we've been primarily for the last 5 years, since all the renovations of buildings have been kind of completed in terms of getting the school district to fix them up. School 10 was about 4 or 5 years after School 16 finished renovations, but they're renovated now. Our biggest push has been to make sure that transition to community schools in both of those schools goes well. And we've also gotten involved with School 19. We were involved with School 44 before that got closed. We got involved with 29 because it was in the 19th ward. Now they're going to close that one. I also got involved with School 3 a few times, and the most recent time was after Vice Principal Washington over at School 10 went over to become the principal of School 3. So I've kind of kept in touch with them, and I've been following their community engagement team. So it's been, we've been trying to really make sure all these become effective community schools with a lot of local involvement in them. About the time that School 17, which Ralph Spezio ran, was at its best performance, he left because he identified the lead contamination issue, which was poisoning a lot of students. And he accomplished that because he got so many things going right at School 17 that they could see that there were some kids that for some reason still weren't able to concentrate on what they were doing, and they identified the fact that they all had high lead levels in their system, and he went off to start the Monroe County group.
Coalition to Prevent Lead Poisoning.
Yes. And about that time, what does our school board do? They started the managed school choice policy, which basically started kids going all over the city, because now anybody could choose what school they wanted to go to and get bused there. But simultaneously, of course, the state school reimbursement for busing prevented busing to anything less than a mile and a half. Worked against everything they saw that worked perfectly over at School 17. They had a good example of what to do, but they kind of did the exact opposite. Dan Dermisage's last minute notes. I think it's the 31st we've got a meeting. So if you ever get a chance to stop in on one of his meetings, I'll be sure to give you the Zoom link, because I'm sure that one of the big topics is going to be what we were trying to cover today and didn't have as many people as we needed. If Santa brings you a computer, Colleen, hope you've been a good girl, so you do get one in your stocking. You can join us.
I'll let you know when that happens.
Okay. Because we're okay. It's Lee is still on the. I'm not sure. Are you still there, Colleen? I think she dropped out.
Yes, John.
You are, okay.
I tend to mute myself so I don't create background noise for the speaker.
Okay.
So, but I'm still here.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, we'll keep you posted. We didn't cover nearly as much as I was hoping to today, but if you look at the email reminder I sent out this afternoon, it has a link to the article in the paper. Well, you can't do that without a computer, but anyways, the article is, if you saw it in the newspaper, it'll be worth reading through that. It sounds like Justin Murphy is in hot pursuit of this issue. You get all the information from the Coalition for Public Education, right, Eleanor?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They send out a lot of stuff.
And it's a lot of it is good reading. Would you like me to suggest that Dan put you on his mailing list, Lee?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll do that, and let me know when you're back on with a computer, Colleen, and I'll.
John.
Yeah.
From my cell phone, I can log in.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I can get into email accounts and on the web, so no problems.
Okay. I'll give Dan both your names, and you will be in the know, because he sends out a lot of very current information, and whenever something comes up from one of the groups I'm involved with, I send the information to him. So it's a
Thank you.
cooperative venture. So we are at 7:01. Of course, we got a slow start. Is there anything else that any of you have run into that you wanted to bring up today? Do you have anything, Lee?
No, my position with respect to having my tutors go back into the school seems to be borne out by the latest announcement that when the kids go home tomorrow, they're going to be told to take their laptops with them.
Yeah.
Because it's highly likely that, or at least, almost likely, that the first couple of weeks, 3 weeks of school in January are going to be virtual.
Yeah.
Because at that point, There'll be lots of people with COVID, hopefully mild cases of it because they've been vaccinated. But it's just altogether too risky, it sounds like, to be sending kids into schools when so few children have been vaccinated. It's been a couple of weeks since I spoke with anybody at Cooper to find out what the percentage is of children who've been vaccinated, and the last time I asked was about 2.5 weeks ago, and the number was less than 1%. So,
boy, hope that starts going up fast.
well, and I have no idea what the statistics are for people picking up COVID kits in the city as opposed to the suburbs. Because out here in the suburbs, everybody lines up wherever they're told to line up with their car and gets their one box of COVID test kit thing. And then for those of us who are planning on seeing family this weekend, we've gone to Wegmans or CVS or wherever and purchased more kits. So they're not that expensive. It's about $20 or $25 for a pair of tests.
Yeah, if you log into the Rochester City School District website, there's a pop-up that says that all the children will be taking their laptops home, and that they're all going to be given a test kit, and it even there's even a link to a demo of how to use the test kit. So it's that's something that they seem to be doing right on their website.
Yeah. Well, we took ours this morning, so we know we can travel.
Oh, good. Are you going to be traveling for Christmas?
Yeah.
Good.
Unfortunately, through an airport or two.
Oh, God. Yeah, we'll see how that all goes.
Well, we've got our N95 masks, and
good.
We look pretty scary when we're wearing those. So.
Yes, it's hard to get back into things seem to be going well there for a while, and I found myself occasionally forgetting to put it on before I went to Wegmans, but
yeah,
I gotta get back into the swing of things and make sure I keep one in my pocket.
I'm sure there's some humor in here somewhere.
Well, at least we're still alive in spite of all this. So far, anyways.
Exactly.
Did you have anything you wanted to bring up, Colleen?
Yes, John.
Now, were there any issues you wanted to bring up that we should hear about?
I'm wondering if anyone knows with the incoming administration in City Hall, if there are any comments regarding what anyone may want to share related to policy or staff members' positions on the things that are close to you, such as like the neighborhood schools and busing and things like that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I was picking up when I started looking at this article in the paper is that a lot of the city and the state assembly and Senate members from the area were also commenting on the Jallo issue. We've got a lot more people certainly in our state assembly and Senate who are in favor of being more proactive for the schools. I think a lot of the obstacles that we had before are going to be improved in the coming few months here. I had talked with Malik Evans about a month and a half ago at a meet and greet they had over at the 19th Ward Community Association parking lot, and he was in favor of, neighborhood schools. He used to bring his kids to his mother's place over on Pennhurst, and they'd be picked up there to get bused to the school that they went to. And so he agrees that there's a lot of reasons why we should have local busing, and make sure that to do things so that kids can more often go to their neighborhood schools, and that we can build up good community schools that way. I talked with Lachey Harris at a safety committee meeting I attended, and mentioned to her that we had a lot of gave her some of this information, and I sent her an email with a breakdown of what we're trying to accomplish, and to see if she could help us make sure we get information to Malik Evans. James Patterson! Hey! James Patterson is joining us. He is one of the new board members, or else he will be in a couple more weeks. Hey James, how are you doing?
Pretty good, yourself?
Good. Well, we were delighted you joined us. I was just explaining to Colleen McCarthy, who is on the phone with us. She's from one of the East Side neighborhoods, and we are trying to deal with the fact that she doesn't have, she's just on the phone, so it's hard to have as easy a display of information. But I've got Lachey Harris trying to get information to Malik, and also he's in on all the information that we send. He's on the mailing list for this group. So hopefully we will, have his ear as January comes around. And we're also talking with Katerina Leone-Mannino, who has a new position at central office now, but she's also a champion for trying to get community schools, to try to have more local students involved with them. She was the head of School 17 for several years, and
Yeah, I'm familiar.
You're familiar with her. So
Yep.
We hopefully will be working closely with her. And
What's her position now, John?
what is?
She's an HCI, or they call it HC now.
What's that?
Human capitals, like human resources, but they call it human capitals. So they took off the I, Human Capitals Initiative. Now they call it HC. Everyone's always rebranding.
I know it makes things confusing. So I think we've got several of the local state representatives talking with us. Well, And while you're here, James, what are the things that you're looking to push for as far as the busing situation, neighborhood schools, community schools? Seems like from what I recall, the last time you joined us, you're in favor of community schools or neighborhood schools, but you're looking to just stop the busing, or what approach are you planning
No,
on
never
taking?
said that.
No? Okay.
Matter of fact, I think I wrote a letter. I responded to an email for this group. Wasn't it this group? And then someone asked me, could you send it on to other people? And I said yes.
Um,
It wasn't this group.
no, it might have been. So you talked to the coalition recently, or?
I try to get in as many meetings as I can. So I
know.
get,
I've run across you many times, but
yeah. But anyway,
you were looking for walking school buses. I think that was the thing you were pushing for.
well, I'm thinking fiscal responsibility. So I'm thinking if we go back to community schools or neighborhood schools, then individuals can walk half a mile even, to the schools. Would I like a full mile? Yes. But if that's not acceptable, I'm flexible and would like at least half a mile. Number one priority is exercise. These kids are obese and they need to exercise more. They aren't getting in the parks. They aren't going to the gyms or anything like that, to get exercise. So we have to at least get these kids walking. Neighborhood schools, community schools, that brings the parents back into the schools, K through 6. They get to know the teachers, the administrators, if they live within the communities. Hopefully they'll stay in the communities and won't become transients and move across the city, to another apartment or, another home and go to another school. They'll want to stay. They'll want to be a part of a community. So my hope is that, it'll get them back there for open houses, for teachers' conferences, for after-school events, to volunteer. You build a community within those community and neighborhood schools. And then you have parents, once they get to know one another, then they can, after school, go pick up their kids or maybe pick up the neighbor's kids, because now you've built a relationship with other parents.
Yep.
So that's my aim, my hope. There's no issues in the morning when those kids go into school. The drug dealers are sleeping and the drug users are sleeping too during that time. It's when the most important times of walking and danger is after school. That's when gangs are out. That's when the drug dealers are out. That's when the drug users are out, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if during those times we could have parents and, the other ones that are supporting them being grandparents, whoever they live with, walking to school, picking them up and walking them home, the ones who live within a half mile or a mile, then that's what they're going to have to do. We have to get the parents more involved back into the school districts and as a community. We can't sit back and let them direct rules like, oh, I can't get my kid. Well, wait a minute. Are you home during the evening like that? If we kept you kept your kid at the school, your child to like 5 o'clock in the afternoon for after school events, or is tied to like a rec center in our center, would you be okay picking your child up at maybe 5 or 6 o'clock after you got out of work? We have to find ways to work with these parents and make this work as far as, like I said, the fiscal responsibility and neighborhood community schools, because you can't keep busing these kids into gang territory.
Yeah.
That's why these fights are happening. These kids don't know one another. Where chances are, if you live in a neighborhood, you won't be fighting like that. You'll want to get along.
Yeah.
We have to sometimes, the voices that we hear often are the parents that are the angry ones. But the parents that want their kids to, learn, and they want their kids to behave, those are the ones, or the kids that are behaving, you don't hear from their parents at all. Right? But the ones who have the loudest mouths are the ones who aren't participating. The ones who aren't going back to school We want parents that are involved in the school system. We want them to buy into the system. The teachers cannot do it all. They can't. So we talk about building a community, and everyone working within the community. Everyone has to kick in, and everyone has to be willing to kick in, and help out here. Teachers cannot do it alone. The system cannot do it alone. It's not built that way. So, we have to be realistic and especially saving money and fiscal responsibility. And it makes sense to get back to community schools, the neighborhood schools. That's going to save us. Great. Let me move on now to busing. My thought is that everyone that's being bused right now should be grandfathered in. I'm not for taking anything from a kid. They need to get to school. If they're going to a private school or urban suburban program, then our CSD do better. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Do better to bring those kids back.
Yeah.
But to punish them because of something that the district's not doing, I don't believe in that. So let's grandfather those people in. And then if you want to start with, okay, we're not going to bus any longer for urban suburban programs or private schools, that's a board decision. But realistically speaking, for me, I'm not for taking anything from kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm supportive. Being a teacher, I'm supportive of kids, and I'm supportive of parents.
Mm-hmm.
So let's make it work. District, compete. Rochester City School District, learn to compete. So make your schools phenomenal places to learn. I'm going to give you ideas, being in the classroom and what I know from investigations to help and support the superintendent. But if you don't take those ideas, you don't do anything with them, then, shame on you. But I have a lot of experience now in the classroom. I just finished up a stint over at Wayne Finger Lakes Technical Career Center since September. I was a teacher over there, training another teacher. So I just finished that up, and this frees up my time now, to devote totally to, which I wanted to do, the Rochester City School District.
Good. Yeah.
Can I answer all your questions?
Yeah, I've heard you say these things at a number of meetings, and I'm really. It'll be nice to see the new school board. Once you are on there, discussing a lot of these things. Have you seen the article today about
Jello?
Yeah, Jello.
I saw it, and I'm going to comment real quickly there too. I ran on honesty, integrity, if you remember,
Mm-hmm.
and transparency. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to have a contract with 3 charter schools, that's my understanding, why aren't you just transparent about that?
Yeah. Yes,
You should be transparent. Let the board know, let the administration know, the Harry Bronson know, and whoever else should be in the know what you're doing. And you can't use the excuse, well, I'm an independent contractor and I have a right to work for who I want. Well, you do, but is it a conflict of interest, number one? And for me, we need a person that's given us 110% in the district. And if you have a contract with 3 other charter schools, you cannot possibly be giving us 110% for the money we're paying you. So it's transparency for me. And that's what bothers me. I spoke to Dr. Jello. I think she's a very nice, kind woman. Has a lot of good ideas, right, for the district. But the issue for me, a couple of days later now after speaking to her, and I would have said the same thing in office with her, Dr. Jello, you're wrong. You should have been transparent on that. And then let whoever the powers to be make a decision on whether or not this was a conflict for them. Can you give us 110%? And at this rate of work, and give them 110%. Something has to give. So I'm against that. I mean, at least that should be conversation.
Yeah.
That conversation. Just be more transparent. And I ran on that. So I had a meeting with the superintendent today, Zoom meeting before, this one, and told her basically the same thing. My job is not to micromanage you, but it's to govern. I plan on doing that. And I ran on 3 things: honesty, trust, I forget the thing, and transparency. Honesty, and forget the other one.
Integrity.
Integrity. There you go. Thank you. And transparency. And those are 3 key things for me that I'm going to stand by from day one until my 4th year as a board member. People are going to hopefully know me for that and call me on it.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah, I'm excited when I hear you speak because, a lot of the things that I hear you saying are some of the things we've been fighting for since we started in on this to get School 16 renovated and reopened, and then same thing at 10. But we wanted these schools to reopen as community schools, and we ended up lucky that the district and state kind of pushed for schools in receivership to get into a community school type environment. So we've just been trying to make sure that local participation in those schools is high enough to really get parent involvement to the level that it should be to have, to improve the schools.
Mm-hmm.
One of the, let's see, what was I going to ask a minute ago?
Oh, I got another few minutes. I got to be on another Zoom meeting at 7:30, but go ahead.
Okay. One of the things that we had that we noticed when we first started on this was talking, closing, removing being able to bus kids across town was not something that anybody wanted to hear. And so we've been kind of taking the same stance that you have here, that we're not trying to keep people from having the school choice busing that they have now, but we'd like to make it easier for people who choose to have their to go to their neighborhood school, have the same options for safety of busing that they do if they pick a school across town, which a lot.
But that's not saving us any money.
Yeah.
That's not fiscal responsible. You know what I mean? So if you can walk to school a half a mile, I know someone extended to a mile, but just because we're getting more money, receiving more money, doesn't mean we have to spend it.
No. Well,
I think that's true as far as fiscal responsibility. Right now, they're thinking of in putting 3 jobs and creating 3 jobs in what's it called? The public information officer. They gave her another title, but I'm like, why the heck do you say? I'm thinking to myself, you're thinking of creating 3 jobs in here because you have a grant and you can use that money to pay. But couldn't that money be used for something else? Social and emotional services or needs? And this is how the money's spent unwisely. So I am very, very fiscal responsible, and again, yes, we'd love all these kids to be bused, but a half a mile from your home, you can't walk to school?
Yeah, half a mile would be a reasonable distance, as long as there isn't some dangerous intersections or streets that they're going to have to walk on. It kind of varies a lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I get that. Dangerous intersection, dangerous streets and things like that. But, for the most part, when I'm in the city, I live in the city, but I go to the barber shop right down at Jefferson or Chi-Line near Thurston. It's a pretty bad area, but there's sidewalks there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the parents are going to have to, the ones who can, I'm not saying they all can, but the ones who can are going to have to kick in. And again, I'm hoping community schools, neighborhood schools will draw parents closer to one another where they get to know one another and do what we used to do growing up. Go walk the other one's kid home. Get to know the person living right next door. I don't know. That's just my thought on the matter. We have to find a way, for this district to work properly and, fiscally.
Yeah.
We just can't keep, it's like the money is like there's a soffit on and no one's turning it off. We have to make the parent. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
A few years ago, I was involved with that Eric Steffens, who had given us a presentation on walking school buses. Eva Thomas was still the principal at School 19 at that time, and then she went to another school. Now she's principal at 10. But she was at 19 at the time, and we did some walking school bus tests. I remember walking with Eric around School 19, and we were looking at roads that the kids might take. When they tried really implementing it there, one of the problems they had was there weren't enough kids near the school to make it an easily worthwhile route to pick up enough kids if you walked a certain route to have walking school buses be effective, which is one of the things that we've been talking about, is that if we can get the 1.5 mile requirement that the state has for any sort of reimbursement, if we can have it cut down to either 1/2 mile or 1/4 mile or whatever, once you have enough local students attending the school, then doing walking school buses is relatively easy because the concentration is around the school. But there were tests at doing it at School 19, and in fact, Eric was supposed to be here today, but
yeah, and I'm going to have to run on you.
Okay. Well,
catch this other meeting, but
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for having me. I look forward to the next one, and hopefully I'll have some things taken off my plate, so I'm not so busy.
Great. Take care,
well,
James.
I'm doing a lot of onboard now.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Yep. And like I said, I look forward to being in the meetings and learning too at the same time.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. You guys have a nice Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I don't talk to you. All right?
You too, for sure.
You too. Take care, James.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Okay, well, on that good note, he's definitely one of the bright spots as far as I'm concerned, as to what we're going to have next year. It should be an interesting year with two new board members on board. Any other questions anyone has? Well,
Yep.
With that said, I wish you all the very best for your travels, Lee, and whatever you've got going for the holidays. Be safe, and we'll see you in January, and I'll send out the links for the next Rochester Coalition meeting, in case any of you want to take part in that. And have a good one. Be safe.
All right.
Thank you
Take
very
care,
much.
John.
John, off the top of your head, do you know the date of the next meeting?
The next meeting for this, well,
Yes.
the Southwest Common Council Education Committee meeting
Is the
always tries
20th.
the fourth.
So
Wednesday.
26th, January 26th,
Thank you.
because Southwest Common Council is January 20th.
Yeah,
My
Thank you,
wedding
Oliver.
anniversary,
oh,
by the way.
your wedding anniversary.
One of them.
Will you be able to join us that day?
I absolutely will.
Oh, great. Everything goes on Zoom. Okay, well, we'll
All right, kids.
take care, everybody. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Take
Thank
care.
you. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Very best.